Welcome back, everybody, to Just the News, No Noise. Alabama's Attorney General Steve Marshall is stepping up again to defend parents across that state. He joined a 22-state coalition urging the United States Supreme Court to strike down a Massachusetts school district policy that allows children to socially transition their gender without notifying their parents, without their parents ever being told. So joining us now to talk about that and much more is Alabama's Attorney General. And now he is running for Senate in the state. Thank you so much, Steve Marshall. Thank you so much, sir, for being here.
No, great to be with you. Thank you.
All right, sir, I want to talk about this parental rights issue because anytime we talk about a court case like this on our show, I always think to myself, my gosh, what is the argument on the other side? Who in their right mind thinks that it's a great idea to transition their children without telling their parents?
Yeah, and a school system that believes fully that parents shouldn't have an understanding of their kids dealing with significant issues. And one of the things that really proud of what Alabama's been able to do in this area was around gender affirming care to expose what I think was one of the biggest medical, legal, and ethical frauds in medicine that we've ever seen. Those who want to put testosterone shots in the legs of little girls, puberty blockers in boys, or God forbid, scalpels on the bodies of children to deal with gender dysphoria. And here we have a school system in Massachusetts that doesn't want to disclose that children are struggling with the question around gender, using their own techniques and beliefs that aren't necessarily consistent with what parents want to be able to cause kids to even have more problems.
Yeah, such a remarkable moment, and you have been fighting this for quite some time and continue to win. I want to talk about another victory that you delivered today, that coming out of a federal court today with the Alligator Alcatraz being blocked from being shut down. You led the attorney generals who joined Florida in that fight. Pretty important moment for law and order, it seems.
It was, and for the 11th Circuit to put a stay on a rogue judge's order. You know, interestingly, we have facilities in Alabama in which we house illegals that are otherwise in the immigration system. The fact that Florida built this facility for the federal government to use, and a district judge in Florida was going to say, you didn't follow one provision that applies to a federal contractor, these facilities, to not only shut down the ability to house these folks that are here unlawfully, but to cause its destruction, was completely wrong. Pleased the 11th Circuit was able to weigh in to allow Florida to continue to do the work they're doing. And look, this sets the stage for other states to be able to assist the Trump administration and Secretary Noem in dealing with what the Joe Biden administration caused. That's the influx of illegals that now the Trump administration is going to deal with effectively.
Sir, I know with you at the helm of law and order, Alabama is absolutely a law and order state. So we've got Alligator Alcatraz, we've got Cornhusker Clinker, we've got a lot of states across the country that are utilizing the alliteration to have their own Alligator Alcatraz at home. Is that something that Alabama's looking at doing as well?
Yeah, I think so. I think we're going to call it Yellowhammer something, Amanda. You can appreciate that, knowing the history of our state. But look, we have supported for years the work around the immigration issue. We've had strong advocates, both serving us in the Senate and in our congressional delegation, but also in law enforcement, being able to say we can identify the issues that we're seeing locally. Look, as a local prosecutor, I saw a majority of my drug trafficking cases were those that were here unlawfully. We want to be able to support the efforts of ICE, and we'll continue to do that during the time that President Trump's in office.
Yeah. I have to cut in because I have to nominate a name. Can we name it the Alabama Slammer?
There we go. There we go. Okay. I will pass that on to the appropriate
authority.
Thank
you, sir. Thank you, sir.
I can't believe that just happened. That was pretty good.
There you go.
Mr. Attorney General, a big win this week when President Trump announced that the Space Command will move back to Alabama, where it was rightfully placed in the beginning. Colorado wants to go to court. I think you're probably up for the challenge of meeting him there. Maybe get some attorney's fees when you're done.
Exactly. Look, Gavin Newsom can cry me a river, right? I saw his tweet where he was lamenting the fact that California didn't get it. Look, this was objective criteria that were used for multiple cities to be able to request the opportunity to house Space Command. Huntsville has a remarkable history in the rocket program, significant resources that are there with both engineers and a community that supports it. We're so excited that President Trump did what he did in 2021 to be able to announce the placement of Space Command there. And we're really proud to be able to welcome those individuals that will lead that command right here in Alabama at Redstone Arsenal.
Sir, when Joe Biden made the decision to leave it permanently in Colorado Springs, was that political because it was a blue state?
Absolutely political. Look, he was trying to punish a ruby red state like Alabama. It's one of the largest supporters of President Trump and his agenda. There was no criteria. Look, as prosecutors, we had this phrase that facts are stubborn things. There were no facts that they could demonstrate as to why Colorado Springs would then receive Space Command as opposed to Huntsville, Alabama. President Trump, on the other hand, sees it the right way and was very excited about that announcement yesterday.
Yeah, it's Rocket City. How do you argue with that?
Yeah, exactly.
There you go.
Sir, you've thrown your hat in the ring for U.S. Senate. That's an exciting development. Tell us what is on the mind of Alabama voters as they head into the 2026 election.
Hey, look, they expect me to go to Washington and allow for the final 2 years of the Trump administration to be in full force, just like it's been during the first 8 months. And look, we also need to create that legacy of the American First agenda, right? It's not going to just end when President Trump completes his term. But the principles and the policies right now that have been so effective in helping the folks in Alabama and across this country, we need to be able to enhance and enlarge those moving forward. I look forward to being a senator to do that.
Yeah,
that's pretty important.
And this is outgoing Senator Coach Tuberville's seat. He has been stalwart on a number of issues in the Senate. If you get there, what are some of the main things that you want to focus on there?
Look, the ag community in our state is critically important, and had the opportunity over the last several weeks to be able to meet directly with Alabama farmers to hear how Joe Biden almost inherently destroyed the local family farms that have not only driven our economy in our state, but also are part of our culture. I want to make sure that we're the strong advocates for our agriculture community. And look, we support our military deeply here in Alabama. I want to make sure that we're standing with armed services to make sure that we're supporting our warfighters and to make sure that we give them the best opportunity to be successful and to protecting our country from harm.
Absolutely.
So very important.
Sir, I know our audience is going to want to know where they can find you online. Tell everybody where they can do that.
Yeah, SteveMarshallForSenate.com. We're also out there on social media. I look forward to being able to see not only people of our state being able to serve and develop conservative principles that we can bring to Washington that will serve our nation as a whole.
An idea.
Well, sir, in the interest of Alabama kinship and also me being a journalist, and I can't be partisan, let's say roll Tide and War Eagle. I'll say both of them to you, sir.
Fair enough. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Alabama Attorney General Steve Marshall, it's been a pleasure. Thank you. All right, everybody, next we have another State Attorney General on, Alan Wilson of South Carolina. He's going to talk about his fight against judicial overreach.